Our friends, welcome to just a random stream thing. I think the video started. Yeah, I just not got much on this morning, like most mornings actually. So I'm kind of just faffing around. I'm waiting for tomorrow when I'm not quite sure when it unlocks, but Stalker 2 is out tomorrow. I'm waiting for that. No pre. I don't quite know what the hell is wrong with Steam. And why you never seem to get any, never seem to be able to get any like pre-downloads going on. Yeah, on Xbox you can, but for some reason on Steam you cannot. And it's a big download as well. So, but I mean, it won't take me long. But I feel sorry for people that have got even fairly good internet. It's probably going to take them all day. Hey Darren, how you doing, mate? You all right? Yeah, but I've just come on to do a random streamy thing. I'm playing a warrior on Pantheon. I quite like it. It's the least fleshed out class at the moment. Needs a lot of options. What it needs actually are when you buy skills, those skills themselves need to have an option depending on what weapons you're using. Because I'm level 5, and my level 5, 6, and I think maybe 7th level skills are all based around a shield. But I don't need to or want to use a shield at the moment. And as a warrior, you don't have to use a shield. Like you can dual wield or you can use a two-handed weapon. So almost, so as far as I can tell, those skills say if you've got a shield equipped. So that seems a bit of a, it just seems a bit remiss. But as I said, the class is not fleshed out. So hopefully we get some more fleshing out, at least to a point where, like, my level 5 and some of my skills are not just unusable unless I do what the game's telling me to do. It seems a bit blur. But we'll see how we go. I've been lucky enough to pick up a few gathering nodes this morning, but there's only like a dozen people playing, so I guess you'd hope so, right? Otherwise that'd be nightmarish. I'm not sure. I guess you've probably all kind of listened to the chat I had with Sean from Monsters of Memories the other day. It went up later than I was hoping because I had some sort of problem with the sound issue, and it's not perfect, but I had to do some editing, believe it or not. It's pretty shocking, having to do editing just to improve the sound. I think it's all right. Yeah, it was interesting. It kind of makes you... It's a tricky thing. It kind of makes you... It certainly made me not look at things differently, but recalling things that you were aware of, but maybe in moments of frustration you forget about. I still think as like a content creator, albeit a very, very bad one, you should still... I still have to be incredibly, what's the word I'm looking for? On the fence, I think there are some things that you can go, oh yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Whether it's to do with like a mechanic that a developer really, really wants to try, or whether it's to do with funding or finances or whatever. But I think also there are certain things that I kind of feel that are, non-negotiables. But kind of depending on, again, like all comes back to the same thing, depending on how the game's being marketed, essentially. It's... But we've all got those and everything, non-negotiables. So I was doing this a little bit yesterday, and, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy actually faffing around in Pantheon and whatnot. And I think what it's coming down to more and more is and it was something that we didn't talk about, but I'm not quite sure if there's an answer for it. But I think that from when we I chat with you and comments that you leave, and where do we need to go? Let's go over here. And like looking at the polls I did and stuff, I feel that people are now, not only financially but from a time point of view, and now I think I need to kill these for a quest. Maybe let's find out. I think more than ever, people are looking at whether that's because MMOs are kind of a long-term thing. So yeah, maybe you feel that it's not fair or it's probably not the right way of looking at it. But people are looking ahead, so they're looking at an MMO in its very early stages, whether they're playing it or whether they're watching me or whatever it may be, and they're making a decision then. No, just normal howlers I have to kill, and they're making a decision based on, not a huge amount of information. I know some people will say, oh, well, you can't judge an MMO, blah, 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 blah. But I'm kind of beyond that now. I think that a game has to give you reasons to get invested and look ahead and feel that you want to invest in the future of the game. Like early on, I don't. You kind of used to, but I don't go with any of this. Like you have to play an MMO for 50 hours before it gets good kind of thing. I don't think that's at all reasonable. But I kind of think this is a problem, and it is happening. Like we are. I know many of you have said to me, you've picked up this MMO that I've played, and you've looked at it, and you've just essentially said, I don't want to invest my time, irrespective of what happens, in the 50th hour or the 100th hour or whatever it may be. So I think that's definitely something that I don't know. It's not. It's not just me thinking that people should listen to what I'm saying. I think it's more of a community thing. I think also something we didn't touch on. We spoke about a little about audiences and stuff, and how positive people are towards Monsters and Memories at the moment. I think that's fine. I think that's kind of how we should be. We shouldn't go into it with bitterness. But I think what I'm seeing with Monsters and Memories at the moment is the same as what I saw with the other MMOs I've played as well, that we've all played. And it's that they were, there was a lot of goodwill early on, and a lot of what people said around the game was positive. But I think it's, when you then pay your money and the game comes out and you're playing it, I think that's kind of really where the issues arise. I think Monsters and Memories is doing it better in the sense that they're kind of not asking for any money really. So, like our expectations at the moment should be nothing more than, jump in for a stress test or whatever it is, and that's it. There's no. But I think when the money aspect comes into it, I think that's where the expectations rise, and also where the problems arise, and where you get the genuine trolls come along, and that's when you get issues with the kind of toxic positivity that's become a thing. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it was like 3.5 hours or something. We could have easily spoken for another 3.5 hours. One thing I kind of took away from it is how, like, if you're a developer in creating an MMO at the moment, an indie MMO, small indie MMO, whatever, small, big, whatever, and you are, and you're moving into a market where you've seen other games attempting a similar thing, but the numbers are not there. Like, people are not resonating with it. I'm not sure how that. I think for the most part, from my experience and kind of talking to Sean a bit, I think maybe people just. I think maybe people just. I think it's just a thing of, well, we're going to stick to what we're doing, and I think that's fine for the most part. But But as I said, I think when the game comes out and people pay for it, and there are certain so if I so I create a TV show, and it's an interactive TV show, and the TV show really relies on there being a certain amount of people watching and interacting with the TV show. I don't know why I use TV show instead of just a game analogy, but there you go. You know, and there's not enough people watching and interacting with the TV show for it to work. For the people that are playing, are watching and trying to interact with the TV show, well, then that's kind of, it's a problem, you know. And I think while it's admirable, maybe just to say, well, this is our vision, this is how I want our TV show to be. If it's not working for the audience, which some of these kind of MMOs are currently not, particularly from a population point of view, then yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there is an argument to say, look, you need to think about your design and your vision, and you need to make some, you know, some maybe not. Morning, guys that just arrived. I hope you're doing well. This is Pantheon, which is a new, I say new, it's an MMO in development currently. It's going early access soon. I'm honestly just, at the moment, for the last, well, it seems like for the last, like 2 years, I kind of feel like I'm treading time and still until Stalker 2 comes out. And Stalker 2 is released tomorrow, so I just hope the release goes okay. I mean, it's not a MMO, so, you know, I just want to download from Steam, get in and get immersed. I've been preparing for it. I've recently reread Roadside Picnic. I'm also currently rereading, I'm not sure if anyone's read this before, but it might be interesting to Fallout fans. There's a book called, it's like a sci-fi classic book. It's called A Canticle for Leibowitz. And it was a big influence on the Fallout games. So it's about these group of holy clerics. It's kind of after the war, after a nuclear war, but some time after, like a few hundred years. And it's about this group of clerics who are following like I don't think it's supposed to be a god, but some kind of prophet called you know, something Leibowitz. And nothing kind of, it's funny because some things don't really turn out how you expect them to when you first start the book. But a lot of the so what these clerics do is they go around collecting information and technology. So they're a bit like the Brotherhood from Fallout, and it's got like Fallout shelters in it and stuff and whatnot. And it's funny because at the beginning of the book, Fallout is seen as an actual like monster, like a dragon, because they don't quite understand what Fallout is. So it's so at the beginning, one of the clerics find a Fallout shelter, and I think it's shelter from the Fallout, which is like a monster dragon, like demon type thing. It's really interesting. Like if you like the Fallout stuff, you'll really like it. So I've just been immersing myself in that kind of thing before Stalker 2. It's funny also to see the mentality around content creation on YouTube. I spoke about it a bit before, how it's so generic. There are a number of YouTube channels, quite big, so it must be what people want, you know, to be fair. But there's a number of YouTube channels which just do the same thing. So like a new game comes out, they just do guides and whatever it may be. But they're also kind of like cover games, and I don't kind of want to be that guy, like, you know, I was there first kind of thing, but I'm going to be that guy. But you also get like channels that do things like because Stalker 2 looks like it's been pre-ordered well and it's popular, you get all these channels going, oh yeah, Stalker, I was there in the zone back in the day, and these kids are about 16, you know, it's quite funny. And so they're making a load of Stalker content, despite the fact that they've never ever heard about the game before Stalker, the original games before Stalker 2. And they're only doing it because Stalker 2 seems to be, you know, popular. And I know I'm sounding like a Miserable old bastard, and I guess I am in a way. But it's yeah, I guess it's just YouTube, you know. I guess people have worked out the algorithm and what you need to do, and so, you know, that's what they do, sadly. But anyway, Stalker 2, yeah, I haven't spoilt myself really. I've watched some videos of just some quick gameplay, you know, and it looks like what I'm hoping for. I think the most interesting part of the video for me was I don't think we really got into it as much, but from what kind of Sean was saying, like especially particularly as an ex-EverQuest developer, I kind of feel that like we was kind of talking about classic and like niche being a spirit, like a vibe kind of thing, and you can have, you know, you can introduce new systems to an MMO that is trying to have a classic spirit, but I think that you need to get off. But oh, what the hell? That's really annoying. That is. You can turn it off. Actually, I just need to turn it off. Yeah, but how you implement those systems is the thing. But there are quite a lot of systems as well that I haven't spoken about. It's not just this game, but other games as well. So a couple of things that kind of I can't feel really different and don't really meet with the classic vibe or spirit is that like many of these games now have like a combat state. So classic EverQuest didn't have a combat state, and I never liked combat states. I don't know why the game changes its parameters when you're in combat, when you're out of combat. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't even really make any logical sense. So what I mean by that is in EverQuest, if you're standing and not in combat, and if you're in combat, then your health regeneration, for example, is exactly the same. In this game, when you go into combat, it creates a combat state. So, yeah, you stop regenerating. If you sit down, you start regenerating. Obviously, if you're in combat, you can't do that. But if you find a way of, I guess maybe like crowd controlling the mob and sitting down, it kind of puts you into a state. But it's little things, and also things like you can't change your weapons in combat. You know, and that was a massive thing in EverQuest, particularly, you know, depending on your class. You know, it was obviously more useful for certain classes and whatnot. Like playing a warrior in EverQuest recently, I've noticed what a viable tactic that is, and I'm not sure if, you know, as people keep saying, this game is new development, early access, you know, despite the fact that it's now over a decade. So maybe these things will be changed, but yeah, it's these little things that I kind of feel move away from the spirit of a classic MMO and go more towards like a World of Warcraft kind of style, really. I mean, not being able to change weapons or equip a shield in combat, I don't. That kind of feels quite lame to me personally. I don't know kind of what that serves. But whatever the reason for it is, like logical or not. Oh, sugar! I didn't realise this guy was yellow. Oh well, I probably could have beaten him there if I was more on song. Yeah, but that's kind of, I think that's kind of part of the spirit, you know, where you have those people. And it's funny because you kind of feel that when you talk about lots of little mechanics, like individually, it might not seem like a lot, but I can certainly remember. I can certainly, having just played a warrior to level 50 or so on P99, I can certainly see how removing weapon swapping in combat, for example, removes a massive amount of tactical gameplay. Even something like just freezing like mana and health regeneration when you go into a combat state does the same kind of thing as well. Yeah, You know, it's, I mean, I remember many occasions where I'm in combat and I'm about to die and I haven't quite got enough mana to heal. So I'm just kind of trying to survive until that tick happens. And that tick happens and you can chuck a heal on yourself. EverQuest had a sitting and a standing state. So if you sit down, you regenerate more. But yeah, it's all these little things that kind of add up, you know, that are missing. Like we spoke about, even simple spells like levitate, invisibility, water breathing and stuff that some games are not including. And some of these I think are quite fundamental to what I would class as like in the spirit of a classic experience. But yeah, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. I think it would be good if you could just have like an honest, logical conversation about it, because some of these things will kind of argue against them, even if you're an experienced player who's aware of this. I'm sure there's someone watching this who, because their favourite game does it that way, they will say, "Oh no, classic MMOs did that. That's what EverQuest did. When you got into combat, you didn't regenerate any health and stuff, and you did like 100%." But kind of people try to excuse the decisions that are kind of being made, you know. But it's exciting, you know. Even apart from all of that, it's exciting. You know, there's new MMOs going into development and new ones coming out in early access and whatever it may be. So at least we've got something to play for a short period of time until we move on to the next one. Yeah, but I don't know what you guys think. I mean, many of you who've played EverQuest know that the mechanics I'm talking about, know what the mechanics I'm talking about are. And you're probably aware of the great tactical impact they had on the game, despite, on the face of it, not seeming like they would have, but they do. But yeah, it's. The only one I can think of that I've played is Project Gorgon. Was made by a husband and wife who worked on Asheron's Call, I believe. That's the only one I can think of offhand. I think the problem with those skill-based games, I think particularly now, and it's a bit like RuneScape, and it's a bit like Ultra Online, for example, is that skill-based games just seem to be designed just inherently to be very, very grindy, and I think that's what a lot of people offer with Project Gorgon. Yes, I mean, I've heard that before used as the reason why that kind of combat states came in. I think it was like a documentary I saw about World of Warcraft. So I'm not sure if World of Warcraft was the first one to use it, or if like a second gen like Vanguard used it, for example. But whereabouts did I die? Because now I'm level 5. I've dropped my corpse. So I need to go and find it. I think it was over here on the road up near the. Yeah, I mean, I think that's essentially what World of Warcraft did. I think the thing is that in EverQuest it was very, very tiny. You know, it wasn't even in relation to the amount of hit points and mana you had in EverQuest. It was still quite small. It wasn't kind of game breaking as such. Regenerating a small amount. I think even at level 60, if you're standing in EverQuest, unless you're a troll or an Ixar, the regeneration is quite small. I think it's like as you state, like for you personally, that's a system that is not too much of a problem because, and you've outlined a reason for it. But I think the issue is that when there's so many, all of these kind of small changes mount up in the end, and then as a whole, you know, holistically, you get a game that just kind of feels very different. I died somewhere, didn't I? What did I die to? I think was it down? I think was it down? Oh God, where did I die? I know where it is. There's a camp where you go down a little section and there's some those NPCs that I was fighting. I think maybe it was down. Maybe it's down here. I'm not sure. I'll find it in a minute. I think that's what we was talking about in us up here. I think across around there. I think what we was talking about in the video with Sean is that when you restrict things too much on a player, you know, you dictate more and more how they should be playing the game, and that was kind of fundamentally what EverQuest wasn't, you know, what EverQuest didn't do. And I think we said, like, whether it was naivety or whatever it was, you know, it worked. So that's the yellow dude. I'm sure I could kill him if I was full stuff, but I think also what I do, again, fairly or unfairly, is I kind of think of a mechanic. I think of a mechanic like, say, not being able to weapon swap, and I kind of think to myself, say, when I was playing through as an Ogre warrior on P99, if we remove that now when I was playing, would it have a massive impact on the class's kind of tactical options and stuff? And the answer is that, yeah, it definitely would. And I suppose that, like, overall, it's kind of like also like it's like a it's the concept of kind of trying to understand. I still don't quite understand it. You know, it's like particularly like coming from developers who have worked on EverQuest before and aware of this, and I'm sure they must be aware of it. It's not like they're daft, you know, and they don't know what they're doing. You know, I'm sure they do. I'm just trying to come up with what the reasoning behind it is. Like, what's the and even if the reasons are kind of well intentioned, I think ultimately what you get is a mishmash of limitations that the player comes across that they're just not used to coming across, basically, in a classic MMO. And I think when you've got less, I think as Sean said, when you give players less options, it all just becomes a lot more on rails. And you know, but I mean, as has been pointed out, I mean, Pantheon has essentially begun its development process again, almost. So, who knows where things will be down the line? You know, maybe a lot of these player freedoms that seem to be being restricted at the moment will be implemented. Maybe they're just not ready. Maybe the game's not ready. Well, I think it comes back to that freedom thing again. So, you know, when you go into a dungeon in EverQuest, it's clear that it was designed for a group, but it wasn't designed to stop someone, if they wanted to, trying to go through solo. There were no kind of arbitrary barriers or kind of like fake barriers that prevented someone from doing that. So it wasn't, you know, it was designed with a group in mind, but the fact that someone could learn it and do it solo was part of the freedom of design. Well, it's funny because like, people talk about classic modern MMOs and how they give you everything and stuff, but one of the most egregious things I came across was in New World. New World has got this gameplay loop of running around opening like elite chests once a day for random loots, and generally there's like a boss standing around it and stuff that may or may not require a group or whatever. Oh, that's a mistake, isn't it? Who the hell is that? Who the hell is that? It's the other thing I don't understand as well. Like, what is this system where I understand you again? What there are certain new systems that are implemented, I think, that kind of cause an issue, particularly for the early player. So I was sprinting, but this trapper was still quicker than me. So there's a sprinting skill has been implemented, and so you think to yourself, well, okay, but at some point I can run away from him, but I can't do it now. I don't understand that design. Like, why is it even a thing? Why was the decision made? Like, what is the decision? That guy's not going to help me, is he? Oh, he's not. So the decision, I'm assuming, is because they've decided, instead of having like a spirit or wolf type thing, they've decided to increase a sprinting skill, which you can use to move a bit quicker and stuff if you want and whatnot. So it's tied to that. But as a new player, it's just infinitely frustrating coming from a classic MMO, and you just cannot run away from mobs, you know. So the early game is you. I mean, I'm not quite sure why I ran there. I think I was trying to get to. I thought I knew where a guard was. And the issue with it is that the system is the mobs essentially stick to you, basically. And it was something that happened occasionally in EverQuest. You know, if a shaman or something kind of buffed a mob with Spirit of Wolf, fair enough. And maybe you could argue this system away by saying the mob's high level, so its sprint skill is higher. But I'm like, why is it there anyway? What's it doing? Like, what's the? Yeah, don't know. But back on topic, yes. I mean, I think that an MMO designed in the spirit of a classic MMO, whether it's EverQuest or Asheron's Call or Ultima Online, whatever it may be, doesn't design content doesn't design barriers in front of content other than skill and kind of level based, which I think is kind of what you would logically expect in a game. But going back to the New World thing, yeah, there was these chest runs. And people had worked out on a few of the chests how to kind of open them without engaging the mob and something. And initially, I would kind of, if someone just said that out of context, I would say, okay, well, that seems like a problem. But the way, in the context of how the chests work, so when you open them, the stuff you get from them is completely random. And I would say that once you get to top, I mean, I've just leveled another character to max level on New World, and once you get to 65 and you've done a few chest runs, it's very, very unlikely that you get anything. I mean, I did a chest run last week where we hit every zone with every elite chest. God knows how many chests that we opened, hundreds, and I don't think I got an item that was an upgrade. That's just kind of how it's designed. Yeah, and so when you take it in that context, what they did was they put a load of bullet spongy, high level, elite, ranged mobs. They just rather than coming up with some idea, a creative idea of fixing the problem, they just stacked all of these ranged mobs around it. So whenever you went into the area, you just got attacked by about like a dozen ranged mobs when you went near the chest. And that's just such a lame. I mean, you know, it's come to be expected from New World developers, but it's such a lame way of dealing with an issue that you want to overcome. It's just yeah. Yeah, Project Qualm, I think, is maybe, I'm not sure, I kind of feel that maybe it's a slightly gentler introduction to EverQuest. It might be a thing to do. Yeah, Qualm's pretty new. So I think some people get scared off sometimes of EverQuest because of what they hear about it. And I think if you go into the game and you're a newbie and you keep getting killed and stuff, then yeah, that is going to be an issue. But really, I think the learning curve essentially is just turning your note, you know, get your guild tunic, and then just kill blue mobs. Essentially, that's it really. Look at your class's skills and how they interact and how you can use all that stuff to your advantage, like any RPG really. But that really is it. It's just find blue mobs and just kill them, and eventually you'll progress. If you hang around certain areas where other people are playing, I think P99 is pretty quiet at the moment. I think there's quite a lot of people playing Qualm actually, but they come back after a period of time. That's it really. Yeah, if you hang around certain areas like the Freeport Newbie area, or places like the I think that's aggressive, that dude, isn't it? Yeah. Places like the EC tunnel and whatnot, you know, you'll get you know, you'll get buffed and stuff. So hey Liz, yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of logged in this morning, and I just want Stalker 2 to unlock. I didn't quite know what to do with myself. I did log into Brighter Shores, but with that game at the moment, I'm just finding that it's all progress in the game, including like the main quests and side quests and stuff. He's just tied to grinding a. It's tied to grinding like a skill up, and yeah, I watched a video yesterday. And they were talking about how much skill points are required to. Like I'm on a quest where I need to catch a certain fish, and to catch the fish, I need to grind fishing for a long time. So that's kind of where that game is at the moment. I hope they. I mean, the developer, you know, seems pretty much on the stuff, and yeah, like some people worked it out. And they were saying that it would take there's certain side quests where the requirement to get the skill level to continue the quest would take real time days to get to that point. And we're not talking about, you know, we're not talking about like pretty much that high in the skill really. It's just pretty crazy. I played a Paladin earlier on in the year, and the Paladin is really good, actually. If you enjoy the Pantheon combat, then the Paladin is really nice. It was in a really nice place. I think 2 added damage has got a higher base damage, so 4 physical damage, and a higher delay. So I think it's kind of similar to EverQuest in that regard. I don't have a 2. I might make myself a 2-handed weapon at some point. Yeah, so anyway, Liz, yeah, I thought, what shall I do for a couple of hours to kill the time? And this was it. I enjoy it though, like I'm sure you do, you know. But I was saying earlier, I think for a lot of us, it's got to a point where we look into the future slightly and think, is this a game we want to spend our time on? Going forward, more than we would used to. Like I would just buy an MMO, any MMO, and then just play it for 100 hours, 200 hours or whatever. But I find myself not willing to do that anymore to get to a point where it's a good game, you know. It needs to be earlier than that, I think. Rightly or wrongly, I think that's an aggro, isn't it? Yeah. Here we go again. Oh, drop down onto that dude. Yeah. Seems as though you can slightly confuse the people that are chasing you. No, where are you going? Hello? Oh, well done. What? Oh, he's not going to aggro the mob that's... He's not going to aggro the first mob that aggroed me, is he? The snake. He is. What a fucking moron. Well, the guard AI needs some work, shall we say. That was not very good. Oh dear. Yeah, I kind of completely understand. I think we, yeah, touched on it. I kind of touched on it a little bit at the start of the video. You know, where we're, if you want our time investment, you know, in your game, then we need to feel. You need to kind of get some kind of feel and reward, pretty much, out of the gate. I actually kind of feel that from a class point of view, I think Pantheon actually is one of the things it does do pretty well. I mean, early on in my warrior's career here, I got a couple of skills that made me feel quite engaged with the class. Like the charge skill is the main one. I think there are certain classes in EverQuest that really do feel that way, actually, when you first start, where a lot of people say, I'm not prepared to get to that point. So like the Paladin and the Shadow Knight, for example, where essentially you're just a shit warrior for 9 levels, with a self heal or a damage spell, essentially, that you can use once every 45 minutes or so. New World is crippled by its decision to balance PvE around PvP, essentially, and also just a lack of things to do at level 60. I know you can find a video on YouTube by someone like Baggins or whatever saying, you know, there's 1,000,001 things to do at level 65 or whatever, but really, it's what boggles the mind with New World is how the game physically. This is what I was talking about, these barriers earlier on. The game will physically not allow you to go into a dungeon area unless you're in a group. What sort of suck is that, really? You know, it's, if you could do that, I would probably carry on playing New World for longer than I normally do, and thus probably spend more money. It's just weird how that is a requirement to just let me go into dungeon. Even if I'm going to get slaughtered, it's a different way of playing the game, and it's something to do extra added on to all the other stuff. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, I as I said, I leveled a new character to New World. Leveled a new character to level 65 recently. Did a load of chest runs and stuff, and got 700 gear score or whatever. But then, yeah, just kind of run out of things to do. What happens? I then kind of fill a lot of my time. Well, yeah, I think that's been, certainly on my channel, that's been the conversation, is that that's what. Sorry, Viper. I mean, that's what we're all saying, but it seems as though there's a group of people who have a certain ideal about what the spirit of a classic MMO is, and there are other people who have a different idea of what a classic MMO is. And so I kind of, I mean, I don't feel that I'm getting that. Some of it is to do with mechanics and how they're implemented and whatnot. Yeah, but it's it's interesting. Oh, a Grimling. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that mob there. I guess it comes out at night. What's the deal? Let's go and find out. Pretty easy is what the deal is, unless it's got some crazy abilities like that one. Oh, we have 44 copper. That's interesting. But I guess that's kind of where we are, aren't we? Like that, you know, have had people leave comments on videos saying that they feel that Pantheon captures the EverQuest spirit. I mean, I would say that some of them are talking about what they remember when they played EverQuest 20 years ago. They haven't played P99, for example. But yeah, I think that's where we are. You know, that we just, like everything, I'm sure when Stalker 2 comes out, there'll be people who love it and don't. I'm sure there'll be old hardcore Stalker players like me who might look at it and go, oh, this is not really like Stalker. You know, some people who will go, oh, it's exactly like Stalker. I guess that's just life. Oh, those Grimlings are like little skeletons, I think. I love the look of Ashes of Creation, but I don't... I mean, I understand it was Asmongold and stuff, but like he logged in and couldn't play because people just kept attacking him. And I know that's not going to happen to everyone, obviously, but there are people in PvP... There are PvP players who are just like that. That's all they want to do. And I've played enough PvP MMOs with corruption systems and baddie systems and stuff that just haven't worked. Hasn't stopped people from doing it. So I kind of want to play Ashes of Creation, but I'm not kind of prepared. And maybe it's something that will come. It didn't even seem as though Ashes of Creation had like a guard system like Ultra Online had, where you're in town and you can just attack anyone and all that kind of stuff. I saw a video about the corruption system and how it works and whatnot, but I've seen similar systems before, and you know, they just don't work. But maybe this will be different. Overall, I would enjoy a PvP-based MMO, an open-world PvP-based MMO system like we had in, like I played Ultra Online for a long time that way. But I kind of, you know, I want some more role-playing to go with my PvP. I don't just want someone to attack me because that's just what they want to do. You know, it's not particularly immersive or whatever. You also find, unfortunately, that gankers obviously are not very good at, generally not very good at the game. Like if you run around New World, for example, PvP flagged, the people you generally get killed by are the people who are they're only using whatever the PvP meta weapon setup is. And if you put them against someone who was actually good at PvP, they would lose pretty much all the time. Yeah, so I saw a video about the Ashes of Creation punishment system, whatever it may be. I mean, I played games with a similar system, like an accumulative punishment, and if you do it, you get these things and stuff. I mean, I know some players I've spoken to who have had a number of accounts, and when one account got to a point where it was unplayable, they just moved to another one, just because that's just what all they wanted to do was just grief people. And if the punishments wear up over time, they'll kind of just come back. They'll come back to that first account again when things are, or they'll leave the account logged in to work off the punishment or whatever it is. You know, it's like. I almost feel as though not a permanent. I think punishment's the wrong word. Like a permanent alignment change. So, if you're someone who wants to engage in that, then that character essentially is now that. Maybe there's some crazy long-winded max level quest you can go through to get rid of it or something or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that will stop people if the rather than the punishment being a timed punishment, it was a permanent one on that particular character. But people would just, you know, try different characters and stuff. It's like yeah, I saw the Asmongold video where he literally couldn't play the game because he was getting attacked. I think is it Stephen, the developer guy, actually came in and sorted it out so people couldn't keep attacking him. Yeah, I mean, when I played Ultima Online, you know, operating in a guild, and if you went to a dungeon, there was someone just PKing people, you'd tell your guild, and a group of them would come and stuff. I mean, it works in that regard. I think it's more about the mentality of the players. You know, it's just as in real life, there are just people who just want to spoil your fun, and it's got nothing to do with the game or the role playing or the skills or the lore or whatever it may be. That's basically all it is about for them, and they'll find ways around the system. I think a faction PvP server will be interesting to play on. I know that they talked about doing it on P99 for a while, but it never got around to it. But so if you want, you can join a guild who's actively fighting other guilds through choice. You know, I think that sounds like it might be quite fun. And if you don't decide to get involved, then you don't. But then I guess that then gets into consensual PvP, which I guess is not what Ashes is going for. So, you know. So, has the game got swimming in? Oh no, it's got water walking. Fair enough. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it worked for everyone, that didn't it? You could, if you wanted to do some PvE, you could just hang around your faction's lands, and if not, and then you could go and get involved. Oh, hello. Looking at Ashes of Creation, though, at the moment, it feels like it will be another game another PvP MMO that will leak players quite quickly over a period of time, and then 6 months it will just be the hardcore players. I think they tried it in the Warhammer game again, didn't they? I never got to end game in that game at all to play the stuff, so... It's amazing how amazing some of the effects are in the game, as opposed to the game's kind of general feeling of Fortnite mixed with like Disney kind of thing. But sometimes it does look pretty amazing. I think the shaders and the polymetrics and stuff doing a lot of work on the engine, a lot of work in the engine. I tried to play Mortal Online 2, and I love the world and the exploration and stuff. It's really, really cool, but I was thinking to myself, is she going to be stuck then? Bright Shore stuff. Yeah, I think, I mean, the main quest requires to be at a certain skill level as well, doesn't it? I think I think at the moment it needs, I mean, it's probably not even really ready for early access, but it needs a massive tweak, I think. You know, if you've got a main quest in your game, I don't think you can really expect players to have to spend even dozens of hours grinding to a point. It's I guess also at some point the side quests will have some relevance. So I love, I mean, it was such a nice game to be in. Like, I enjoyed just running around the tiles, just gathering some stuff and whatnot, but at the moment I just thought to myself, I just don't have the time, or I don't want to invest the time in that much time in a game that is still so far away from. I like the way the mobs kind of seem to come over and look. It's like, oh, is that a massive, great big red ogre I can see over there? Oh no, it's not. Go back. Oh, it is. No, it is. Is it? No, it's not. No, they haven't been eating their steak in this world, I don't think. Not enough steak. Got terrible eyesight. To burn this one down, I think, probably. Then we still might die. Whew. I'm going to go and give it a proper go, Jacob. It's a one MMO That's City of Heroes and Old School RuneScape are two MMOs that I really, really want to play. Well, the games that I really wanted to play, but I didn't have enough time to play them. No, that's not true. I didn't invest any time in them. City of Heroes has got some emulated servers now, so I played that a bit. But Old School RuneScape, just because of the look and the way it plays and stuff, I really, 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 really want to play it. So I will definitely go and give that a go. I was going to install it yesterday actually, but I thought Stalker 2 is coming out tomorrow, so I'll give it a go. But yes, I did play it a little bit actually. I did faff around with it. It's just, again, it looks like a nice game just to be in, wander around, gather some stuff, do some quests and whatnot. Just, you know, it's got that kind of like, it's got that 90s kind of graphical vibe that I like. And yeah, I'm not sure if that's how you find it, if you feel it'd be a game worth trying out. But the short amount of time I gave it, I really... Hello. Yeah, well, it's good that we've got the emulated servers now. I log in every now and again, and I love the freedom of movement in that world. Like I normally pick super jump, and I love just jumping across the rooftops in a zone. It's such a cool experience. What is that? What crap am I carrying? Loads of crap. And like I like finding, because you get like mob spawns on the top of tower blocks and stuff. I love going up and playing a class that can blow them off, and they fall to the ground. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the whole feeling about it, the atmosphere. Yeah, it really, really had that feeling. I need to... Probably need a bow or something. Yeah, I liked my favourite thing was the mind control, but it always just generally felt weaker than everything else. From a damage point of view, I think. I mean, it was great to like just hold a massive group of mobs and pick one to be your pet and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I think, yeah, when I started playing Old School RuneScape, there was a because I mean I do the quests, but it's not the main part of why I play it. So I found this. I'll probably do it again. Actually, I found this kind of like guide online. That's because it's such an old game now. It gives you the best order to do the quests in as a new player. Yeah, I love controllers. Were a favourite class. We're going to get a double here or not? No, I don't think so. It's interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but it's interesting looking at how different the pacing of this game is as well in comparison to EverQuest. I kind of think it's unavoidable with the design. I think that when you get a game like World of Warcraft, if you've got, I'm not sure how you replicate EverQuest to a certain extent. If you've got a game with kind of loads of like cooldowns, because you can just go and burn your cooldowns and kill a mob much quicker than you would in EverQuest. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I guess, I mean, I try to play efficiently, so I try to keep my readiness up maximum. Only use it if I need to and stuff, so... Yeah, but I think this is just another stream where we talk about how great EverQuest and everything, but not just like charm, like the charm classes in EverQuest, but like even like when we was talking to Sean about encounters and and like an enchanter coming along and soloing a camp and stuff. What EverQuest did really well is no matter how good you are, how high level your character is, and how skilled you are, there's a certain element of RNG that you can't remove. What I liked about it is that they I'm slightly overweight. What crap should we drop? I don't want to drop the crafting stuff particularly, but I think that's all I've got. I don't need that. I've got that back at the bank. Yeah, so no matter how good you are, but like a charming class in the EverQuest, for example, there was you still got the element of RNG that could kill you essentially, even as a really really good player. As you say, like the enchanter in EverQuest is high risk, high reward, but the risk is still there. It's not like mindless. And to do some of the stuff that some of the people do on P99, like you have to be like really good. And so I mean, you know, we've said it enough times. I don't care that certain classes can solo camps that maybe wasn't intended. That's part of the beauty of the openness of the games. Yes, I remember that. Like I played a minstrel a little bit, but not. I didn't kind of get to 50 or anything. But yeah, it was. It was interesting because I enjoyed Camelot, but again the combat was quite restrictive in comparison to EverQuest. Like with a charming, I can't remember what the charming class was on Albion. Maybe it was a sorcerer. But with a sorcerer, when you charmed a mob, it didn't break, so it was kind of your pet all the time, which is quite an interesting concept. But I think I don't think that they healed their health that much. So I think it got to a point where you just had to kill it. But yeah, the fact that it didn't break charm was interesting. Yeah, I generally like up until recently, like kind of like a support crowd control character was the sort of thing that I would normally play, but I enjoy playing a warrior in EverQuest and the paladin, and I quite like the melee classes in Pantheon as well. Yeah, just a bit. I think ogres particularly of a recent addition to the game. I think like the running animation here, it all kind of adds to the goofy Fortnite-ness of the game that does break my immersion a little bit. Like I know that the ogres in EverQuest are goofy and stuff, but yeah, there's just a certain atmosphere there that doesn't feel the same here. So when my ogre's running, it feels like he's like a Disney character when he's running. It's like it does feel like a more modern design. I think it's that leaning forward kind of. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I haven't. No, I haven't yet. I think I started one and gained a couple of levels. I wasn't quite sure. Obviously, a couple of levels is not enough to tell, but you know, it was. But I'll give it a go. Maybe in early access, we'll give it a go. Yeah, it does look a bit odd. I liked it in EverQuest. I love the momentum thing. It was almost like analog in a way, where the ogre would start running, and there would be just a couple of seconds for him to pick up speed, essentially. I made a mistake here because I got stuck on the whole. You've got to be a certain level to get a certain crafting skill shite, and so I don't want to refine or make anything until I'm at the level where I can make some bags. So my intention was to go out and just get to level 6. I think that's a level you need to be to make bags, but invariably I've just gathered a load of shit. Let me just go and sell a load of stuff. Yeah, those are the kind of things that, like from an early access point of view, that I would expect to change over a period of time. I'll need to keep that. Let's just sell. I think that's a herb. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Just get rid of all this stuff. Don't want it. Bone chips, no. Who cares? I think I needed coal for one of the scavenger quests. I'm not sure if I've done it already or not. I don't think so. Oh, there we go. There's a couple of things I've found out playing the game. Well, there's a couple of kind of things I've been doing when I start a new character playing the game. I don't know if I can do like a guide video about it. I might do. It's very, very easy to get yourself a better weapon and better tools early on. Almost straight away, pretty much, if you can find the Asherite ore nodes. You don't need that much actually. I quite like the ogre actually. You can't really you can't change it much at the moment. Like you can't change skin colour or whatever. I think you can only change the hairstyle. But yeah, it's I quite like it. I like the dwarf one as well. This guy's got some quests that might be worth doing at the start. Delivering some stuff. You get some silver and some quite good XP, but maybe early access will nerf that a bit. Yeah, I think their art style, that's just how it is essentially, isn't it? I don't really think that there's a lot they're going to change from that perspective. The actual, yeah, I mean, I guess because is it Unreal 5 or Unity, latest Unity or whatever, I'm not sure, but like the lighting and the volumetrics and stuff are really nice, so that kind of really helps in certain instances, like when the sunrise, sunset, certain areas where you've got like lighting. I think over here there's an undead area. It looks really cool at night. I'm not going over there. I'll probably die. Yeah, over here I think there's an undead area and you get like green and bluey glowy lights and stuff in the evening. That looks pretty cool. The Unity. Yeah. I'm sure there will be. I'd like to see a massive balance sweep across crafting and gathering, not just what's available to gather, but it just requires far too many reasons. I know that everything has to be grindy to a certain extent, but it just, even very early on, it requires far too many actual materials to level crafting skills and stuff. It's certainly be nice when and if they do like a sweep for it and something. I think they've nerfed these slog beetles. I think initially they were kind of meant as like a slog to fight, because I remember fighting one at level 5 and it was blue, and it was a pretty tough fight. But they seem to be kind of a bit like a normal mob now. They dropped these helmets as well. I haven't got one. They dropped like a shell beetle helmet and whatnot. It's funny though, because although the lighting and volumetric's pretty good, the weather's a bit there. I quite like the sound of the weather. It's quite nice just hanging around listening to the rain for a bit of. As an ogre, I particularly like the effect, the charge effect. It's a bit like the Flash. Oh, Liz, don't start me on the nodes again. You know, it's like what it's going to be, whatever it's going to be, isn't it? I think. Hopefully they've got a plan for early access, but yeah, I mean, if their plan is to really restrict materials to create some sort of imaginary market or economy that will probably be not very good after a few months, then so be it. That's, you know, live or die on those hills. They will. I meant to ask Sean about it, but we didn't have time. Like, 'cause at the moment they're also using the templatey kind of like gathering node thing, and I was kind of wondering if they had any plans to branch out from that. Indeed, like maybe Pantheon's got plans to do that as well. I like the idea. Someone mentioned about that Pantheon's going to have like a group gathering nodes, which I don't mind, but as long as that's not going to then have some sort of limiting impact on the you know, I mean, going around gathering in a group, right? Fair enough, but I don't even think that's generally what group focused players generally do. I mean, I see running around gathering as more of like just logging in for an hour and running around, just immersing yourself, gathering some stuff. So I like the idea of gathering nodes, but not at the expense of just anyone being able to run up and do it. Hey Don, how you doing? Yeah, that was a fun chat. I mean, I think we're going to do it again, but maybe not as a video. Yeah, we could have easily talked about the same time again, easily. Yeah, on the visual side of things, I mean, I'm like a, you know, like the first game that I ever played, the first game I ever saw and briefly interacted with was in 1980, and so I would say that my peak gaming period was probably my peak gaming visual period, that I, in a sense, that what I've got to get the most nostalgia from are obviously sprite based games, but kind of like 90s like 3D visuals. So I don't mind stuff if it's not detailed particularly. It's more about the art style. So like EverQuest is just perfect. Like, I wouldn't want anything changed about the visuals in EverQuest Classic. everything about it is just brilliant. The art design, styling. So it's not, yeah. So it's not kind of about. I think okay. I think this is a good XP spot actually. I think these large. Whoops. I think these large rats and large bats are either even cons or level 4s. Yeah, so like I mean I love 3D graphics from the 90s. I love I love the PS1. I love that. I mean I even love imperfections like that weird like inverting that PS1 polygons got, if you want to call them that. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I just love all that stuff. I actually feel that, I'm not sure how it's going to go in the future, but I actually kind of feel that the Ogre is actually quite a step in the right direction. It just although the animations that are running are a bit goofy, it feels a bit more adult, it feels a bit more edgy. I want it to be edgier, you know, like I want to create a Ogre Dire Lord, and in the Dire Lord section there's like blood running down the walls and, you know, dwarf torsos hanging up, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want no mucking around. Yeah, I can definitely see that, Dom. Definitely. I think the Ogre is the thing approaching what I like the most so far. I think the humans are horrible. I mean, that really does look like watching, God knows, watching a Disney film, but not like not like a 60s or 70s Disney film. More like a 90s one. Like it's like a Disney hero-ish. So I hope they work on that a bit. I'm not a fan of that. But the ogres are good. I like the ogres, pretty good. I like the dwarves as well. I think it's difficult because it's like I think they're still using some of the old art when you load up the game from the previous revision of the graphics engine. And so when you look at the ogre in that admittedly just a drawing, you know, it looks a lot better, a lot more what I was hoping for. I don't know, mate, honestly. Maybe I might give it a go at some point, but it's not a kind of a game that, I mean, I love the atmosphere of it and the immersion, but it's not a game that I'm kind of running to, that I'm running to. I'm too old for, you know, like massive knob 69 to run around and kill me and whatnot. It's just not, you know, it's kind of not really what I'm into anymore. Like in my mid-20s, I would have been all over Dark and Darker, but now I'm not sure, you know. You know, I'm just not. I'm not sure how that sort of thing is done in. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a kind of a Dark and Darker is kind of a game where you can't really grief, I suppose, because the whole point is you go in and you have to fight your way out against other players. I'm thinking that it's the right game, aren't I? The one that was kind of cancelled for a bit and it came back again. Yeah, but you know, like. Yeah, just some bloke coming up with like, I'm a massive twat, 1990 as a thingy name, and then just killing me for a laugh is not. But I guess, but as I said, maybe you don't get that in that game because that's the whole point of it, you know. So yeah, it's not. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm not. Walgiri's rented. Yeah, I guess it's just one of those things where I'm not like I don't know, like PvP games. I've just not been my bag for a long time now. It's it's like yeah. I think if I loaded it up, I'd enjoy running around and exploring the dungeon and stuff. That looked really, really cool. But yeah, I think those kind of games, like the PvP side of it, it's just you just get people who are really good at it, a lot younger than me, and I think to myself, well, why am I here? You know. So after the enjoyment of the actually playing the game and getting immersed in the dungeon or whatever wears off, yeah, it's like, yeah. It's the same reason why I didn't play, like I wanted to play Escape from Tarkov, but I didn't, you know, particularly, and I really, really wanted to get into the zombie one that was that's been out for a long time, but I never really did. Yeah, the whole battle royale thing is not so much I'm just too old for that shit, as the saying goes. I might download it and give it a go, because I do like the atmosphere of the dungeon and stuff, and the exploring, and it's kind of like that. It's that feeling of tension until you meet little Timmy and he whips you, and then that's it. But yeah, that feeling of tension before, you know, it's like playing a proper alien game where you. Who's that dude up there? They're eager to slay me, are they? Well. Is Dark and Darker like you go in on your own and there's a few other players, or those are the sort of games where it'd be fun to play if you just had if you had a steady group of friends who wanted to play it as well, and you kind of went in and faffed about together and stuff. That'd be a good laugh. Or if you could have your own server where you go in with your friends and they have a laugh. Be a good party game, I reckon. Oh, nice. Yeah, this is this sort of game where I'd enjoy watching some videos of people going in solo and killing a group and getting out. That's just I'd like that. I might have a watch on YouTube later. So with the Ice Caverns map, is it PvE only, or do people just agree? Is it like a gentleman's agreement that people don't? I do like the extraction system, like gameplay thing, like playing. What's that game called that I've been playing? I can't even remember now. The Forever Winter. I'm loving that. That's pretty awesome. But but there's no PvP, so you know. Ah, okay, fair enough. So the level design almost deters PvP to a certain extent. That's quite interesting. Was that intentional or not? You know, I wonder if. What would be cool is if there was a way of... I'm not sure if the game has, maybe it has, but if there was some mechanics that gave you... I guess it meant you could invis or stealth around, so maybe you could avoid some combat, but obviously not to an extent where you can stealth around and like one-shot someone. That'd be cool. I might download it and give it a go. I mean, Stalker unlocks tomorrow, but maybe, yeah, maybe when I've played that enough, I'll give it a go. Those kind of dungeon games seem set up for a little stealth system where you can stealth around and stuff. And I think a grey howler I need to kill for a quest, I think. Ah, okay, mate. I'll check it out. Cool. It's a bit more up my street. Yeah, it's not like afraid to die or lose all your stuff. I don't really care about that kind of thing, really. If you're going into a game where that is, I think it's just more... I don't know whether it's an age thing or not, but, you know, I like to be the sole kind of person deciding kind of what experience I'm going to have, if you know what I mean. And I guess it's why I avoid competitive games now. It's just not... yeah, but I mean, that's... I mean, I when it first came out, I watched a lot of videos, and it did seem a lot of fun. And I wouldn't mind just having a faff around. I'm assuming it got over its problems then. It had some kind of like plagiarism thing, didn't it? Where someone said they copied us something or other or whatever. But I mean, I guess that they've dealt with that. Anyway, this is Pantheon, so like a new... It's an MMO that's going into early access soon. Yeah, I watched a lot of streamers and videos and stuff at first, watching it. It's really cool. I thought the dungeons were nicely designed, nice and spooky and atmospheric as well. Yeah, well, it has been early access for about 10 years now, I suppose. But you kind of see games have early access, then they kind of have like an official early access. Yeah. Do you know what? The classes I've enjoyed playing the most on it so far are the ones that I don't normally play, actually. So I played, well, I played the Paladin and the Dire Lord to about level 15 or 16 or so, when I played the test, you know, like earlier on this year. and I really liked it. I like the Warrior here. This is fun. What I played, though, recently that I liked is the Cleric. Weirdly. What I liked about the Cleric was it takes a million years to kill stuff, but assuming you're not fighting something vastly, you know, assuming you're fighting stuff about your level, it's really, really hard for you to die. That's what I liked about it. It's like they've really tanky abilities to keep yourself alive with, which I really liked, actually. I was quite surprised. I mean, I haven't even tried the Enchanter yet, or the Necromancer. I played a Shaman for a little bit, but I'm not sure about that. Hello. Where are you going? Oops. I thought the what I liked about the cleric was I like the shielding that you can bop on yourself, because it's kind of like I was kind of thinking to myself, should I shield or should I heal this time or whatnot? So it adds like a little element of tactics to the game, which was pretty good. The only thing I would say is that from a balance point of view, I think the shield is probably a bit overpowered, because what happens is you cast it on yourself and it lasts, I think it lasts like 15-20 seconds, but you can't, and then there's like the down point is you can't cast another one on yourself for 10 seconds. But the issue is that generally on level it generally lasts longer than that. So you can just keep spamming it. So I think you can't cast it on yourself element should happen when the shield goes off, because otherwise you can just kind of keep spamming it. So it seemed a bit overpowered. I mean, it uses mana, so I guess at the end of the day, you know. Yeah, Paladin Warrior and Dire Lord. I think at this point in time, like for early access, I actually think I think Dire Lord potentially I really liked a lot, and I like the cleric as well, surprisingly, and I just think that maybe a cleric would just be more needed in groups. I don't know what the tanking meta is, to be honest, so I don't know. I know the warrior needs a lot of fleshing out. It doesn't have many skills, so I don't know who the best tank is at the moment. Let me just go back chat. Sorry. Yeah, Don, you're right. I mean, there certainly is an element of MMO burnout. I do feel that. When I play one and I enjoy the loop, I kind of forget all about it, but there's definitely a thing. Yeah, Brighter Shores, I played that for a little bit. That's okay, but I think it just still needs so much more work. I used to do that, Jacob. There was a couple of MMOs. One of them was Dragon something, where it was kind of like a new... I'm not even sure if it's still in development. There was another one as well that was taken... I think you can still maybe play it, but development has stopped. I was on the Discord. I can't remember what it was called, but it was PvP based, funnily enough. But you could like build boats really early on in the game and sail around. That was yeah, we'll do, mate. I mean, I'm planning on doing some. I'll probably stream some early access and stuff when it starts. I'll probably go hard on Stalker until then, get him a film from that, and then yeah. But it probably won't be a shaman at the start anyway. For you might be surprised at kind of. Yeah, I remember that one, Liz, where you could play as a dragon. Yeah, I think that I'm sure I still get emails from that company about that game. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, where you could start off as a little dragon dude. I'm not sure. Someone in chat might be able to ask you that. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I've seen people running around with guild tags and stuff and whatnot, so yeah. It certainly does. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I get that a lot in EverQuest. You know, that thing where you might get a drop or you might die or something. That kind of rush just before. I think it's just that being dictated by another player. I just lost interest. As I said, maybe it's an age thing, but I just lost interest in it. So I don't really kind of move towards those anymore. I'm not sure, Liz, actually. I used to get emails from them. Maybe I haven't for a while, but yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But so many MMOs have come and gone. There's a weird thing going on with MMOs, and like me and Sean touched on it a little bit, where there appears to be a community, and when a new MMO gets announced and it's in development but not particularly playable, it seems as though there are a lot of people interested in playing it, and there are, but then these games come out and they quickly, the population quickly resorts to just a handful of people who are just dedicated to it, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I don't know if I think on the video we talked about the World of Warcraft dude. You think you want something that you don't. I don't know if it's just a nostalgia thing, and like some people are looking for something they're never going to find again, no matter how many MMOs they play. I don't know. So like what I'm doing here, I could literally do it all day with YouTube on and have a good time. So this kind of gameplay thing is something that still scratches an itch, but more and more I do think to myself, I look at all the mechanics of the game and I look at how they're implemented, and I look at the grind, how long is it going to take me to get there and stuff, and depending on those parameters, I do find myself thinking, actually, even though I'm enjoying a part of the game, I'm not sure I want to invest my time. Maybe part of the problem is the way that games develop now with early access and stuff. Maybe the problem is that you don't, like, what MMO that you've played in the last 10 years is actually finished. So like EverQuest, so when they released EverQuest Vanilla, although they released Cunark and stuff afterwards, that was finished, that's what you got, and the next thing was going to be an expansion. Like, when was the last MMO that you played that actually was finished? I'm talking more about the indie ones rather than AAA ones. So I don't know what I'm getting. So if Pantheon didn't have any early access or whatever, or any MMO didn't have any early access, and it came out and they said 1 to 50, this is what you're getting, the next content will be in an expansion, then I can make a judgment call on that. I can see what I'm getting, I can see where it's going. But like with Pantheon, for example, there are some people who have hardly played it, who invested in it 10 years ago, because it's changed direction and development, and it now feels quite different to what it did initially. So you just don't know what you're getting. You know, there's no... And I guess that's just how development is now. But I would rather... I wish an MMO would come out that had been in development for 5 or 10 years and I never heard about it. And it came out and it was like, this is what you're getting. For this is vanilla. This is what you're getting. Play this and enjoy it. And then we'll release an expansion. But you don't get that anymore. There's a constant development cycle that falls outside of releasing an MMO, then releasing an expansion for it. It's just a constant cycle of change and updates and stuff. And I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe I don't know what I'm getting with MMOs anymore. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I guess it's like an autism thing. But I could sit here with this character for the next week doing the same thing over and over again, and it wouldn't bother me, because that's kind of just how my brain works. But what does bother me is looking into the future. What sort of a time commitment is that? I'm willing to put in a certain amount of time, But I guess you know, again, it's like a spoilt by EverQuest thing. But I'm not willing. I'm willing to sit here and do it for weeks, you know, whatever. But there has to be a limit to that. You have to feel like you're making some sort of progress within the game. Yeah, I mean, we've all sat at camps in EverQuest for days on end, and you still don't get what you want, but you still carry on camping, and I still enjoy that. But I do look ahead now more to see what the you know, what the I think for some people at this point with this game, I think it could be free and it doesn't matter, and I understand that perfectly. You know, it's difficult to have. It's difficult to have a positive outlook on a game that has been in development for so long, and has kind of has kind of almost restarted again. I do feel that. I do understand people who are just not willing to trust or invest the time or their money or whatever it may be. I think that's the. Well, I think the thing with EverQuest is that it is. The things I like about it is it's deeply immersive. Whenever I create a new character, and I create a barbarian, I never get tired of spending time in Hallis or Grob or the zones because of the art design and the audio design, and it feels so immersive. But what all EverQuest is really, apart from that, is a combat simulator. A brilliant one. That's all it is. There is some crafting and stuff, you know, of course, and there is some questing, but it's like if fantasy combat was like a real thing, like, you know, the army would use EverQuest as a simulator. That's what it's good at. You know, it's going into a dungeon and it's experiencing combat. With so many different variables and, you know, the emergentness of it, and etc. We spoke about it on that video with Sean. You know, going into the same dungeon over and over again, and the experience is different because that's what EverQuest is. And you know, these new classic MMOs are adding loads of other elements in that EverQuest didn't have. Lots of systems that, you know, if some people have pointed out, you don't need to interact with them. You can just go out and kill stuff. But they're there. They've been designed by the developer so that they're meant to be interacted with in some way. And also, there's kind of like a FOMO thing as well, where you kind of feel that, you know, I don't know. It's a bit like having a flash car with buttons that do more flashier things, but you don't press them because, you know, I just want to drive my car. You can't help yourself but press them because they're there, you know, they're there for a reason. I do like the Ogre sit as well. Yeah, I like the way he puts his elbows on his knees, like, whew, need a blow. But they do need to need to sort out the crappy running animations for all of the characters. I'm not playing Fortnite. Yeah, but the whole thing, EverQuest was just a combat simulator for the most part. That's all you did. That was the whole point of the game, and it's so amazing that you never get bored of it. I never get bored of combat in EverQuest because it's just so well designed. What I hope most, more than anything for this game, is that as the development goes along, they start to remove some of the restrictions that this game has combat-wise that EverQuest didn't have, which is what made it so good. You know, small things like, why can't I change weapons in combat? Loads of small little things I hope that we get rid of chevrons. They're shit. You shouldn't need those to have a good combat system. Don't design encounters in dungeons so that they're only designed for a specific amount of people. unless it's like raids or whatever, that's what I'd like to see. The combat design being a bit more freeform and mirror EverQuest a bit more. But maybe that will happen as we go along. I'm hoping. I need to go back to town actually, because I think that. So an example of something, just looking at the warrior that needs to be changed, is with a warrior you can go sword and board, you can go dual wield, or you can go two-handed. But my level 5 and level 6 skill only seem to work if you've got a shield, which is a massive waste of time if I'm not using a shield. So I think the warrior needs fleshing out a bit, but I hope that they do that. So what you'd ideally want is that your level 5 and 6 skill changes depending on what you've got equipped. Otherwise, as a warrior who's dual wielding, then I'm just missing skill gains that are only selective for certain depending on what I'm doing. That's what I'm hoping that we get. I'm not sure, but the warrior isn't fleshed out particularly much anyway at the moment, so I hope that changes. I think that will probably change for early access. I've heard they've evened out or they've lowered the experience curve for leveling as well, because that was just horrible. Even as an EverQuest player, it just felt horrible. It just took far too long to. The thing that concerns me about systems that you see in early access, and people say, "Well, it's only early access; it will change," is that we've all. I've played a couple of MMOs recently where players were talking about things in early access years before it came out, and then the game came out and it didn't change because it was just part of the vision. And these were the things that meant those games then ended up with a very, very small player base. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about. I guess that's kind of what you're concerned about when you look ahead. Do I want to invest my time in the game? Are the current systems like placeholders, or are they part of the overall vision of the game? I think those games, just past a certain point, game development just used to be so different as well. It's like Elon Musk has kind of got like an old school attitude towards. He's not developing games, but he buys Twitter and then he sleeps on a sofa. So he's there, and that was kind of like the thing with game development. Like developers would sleep in the office and then get up and kind of start again and stuff. I don't know if you can actually do that anymore. There'd be probably lots of laws and stuff that would stop someone doing that. But yeah, during the development of EverQuest, I can't imagine the developers got much time off, particularly when you consider what they did in a fairly short space of time relatively to what we see now. Then let's go and break this stuff down into these other components. Yeah, but I think not just budget, but I think development was so much different then. I kind of feel it's more about the art than it was about the money or whatever. And people just work 24 hours if they had to. That kind of, the sort of stuff you just probably wouldn't get now. Yeah, so my level 5 and 6 skills are shield ones, and then my level 7 skill is also like a blocking one, which I guess you can block with weapons maybe, but it just don't give the warrior the option to dual wield or use a two-handed, and then you know your skills are locked into a particular type of weapon. Just call these block and slam or whatever, you know, and weapon block and weapon slam or whatever. So that you can use them for whatever you're using. Because otherwise, I'm just missing out on skills. I've just got less skills to use because I'm not using a shield. And you could say, oh well, it's meant to be used in a group. Use a shield in a group. That's what it's for. But you know, what about if I'm in a group and I want to dual wield? You know, it's about giving players options again that we've spoken about. That's the thing as well. Yeah, I've had some people mention that to me actually. Like, people really feel as though they're playing the same game over and over again because just the graphics engine that everyone uses now kind of gives you. I'm going to end up with loads of patterns here, aren't I? Yeah, it just gives you. Like I've played some MMOs where they're using the same icons for obviously store-bought stuff. Yeah, there's definitely a thing with that as well where a design doesn't feel unique. And even though maybe you're designing your own art because you're all using the same engine, I've had that feeling as well. It's like, almost feels like I'm playing. The art almost feels like it's from another game that I've played, kind of thing. Yeah. But I guess creating an engine from scratch and whatnot is, yeah, I guess pretty difficult. Too many onions. I hope they fix the thing for hey Steve, thanks mate. Oh, thanks mate. Yeah, it was. We could have gone on for another 3.5 hours, to be honest. We only scratched the surface of what we was going to talk about, but we might do it again at some point. Yeah. Gustavo, hey, hello from Brazil. Hope you're doing well over there. Yes, I hope they fixed the bank thing where if you right click, it doesn't stack on top of the other stuff, even if it's not in a bag. So you have to kind of drag it over. I hope that's like a fix for early access when it comes along, because it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Right, okay, so let's go and do a bit of this stuff. Put that there. Put that there. I'm going to sell some crap. Hey mate, oh thanks for watching, much appreciated. It's always cool when someone comes in who's never caught a stream before. But timings can be a bit weird, can't they? So no matter what technology we've got at the moment, we haven't worked out time yet, have we? Maybe Elon will work out some time bubble where I can sit in a bubble and I can stream and you can watch the stream at a time that's suitable for you, that's not like off peak or whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. I'm not, I didn't notice if they still do it. What I really hated when I first did these quests was it would say go and find some stuff and make some stuff. So I would kind of find just enough stuff to make some stuff with, and then I'd complete the quest and it'd take it away from me. It's like, you've taken my stuff. Where's my stuff? I was going to use that stuff to make something useful with, so I had to go and get some more. I'm not quite sure if it still does that, but... Hey, Easy, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Another thing you have to watch out for because of this daft system is what would happen was I'd gather some stuff at level 2 or something, and I'd be happily turning it into leather. And I realised because my skill was capped, I was kind of wasting skill gains. So you've got to keep an eye on that, unless they change it. Yeah, that's like, where's my stuff gone? Oh, you've taken it. Oh, right, okay. Maybe I could just show it to you, and you go, oh, yeah, well done. Now go and make something else. It's a bit of a surprise. You took my stuff. Right, so what we got? We got 22 of those. It's funny because some materials you I guess maybe it's because there's a ton of animals. That's the other thing that I think that this, not just in this game but in the MMOs that are introducing these gathering systems, is because the pelt leather requirement, a lot of the mobs are animals now. It all feels a lot less fantastical. I mean, this game, from a mob point of view, kind of reminds me quite a lot of Embers Adrift again, where it's all animals and humanoids. There are some goblins and skeletons and stuff roaming about, but it doesn't have the variety that EverQuest had in the starter zones. Yeah, I'm not sure, mate, actually. Like, I've out of what I've played, I'm not sure if they're the same now, but out of what I played recently and what I played when I played the testing a while ago, I enjoy the paladin, the dire lord, and the warrior, and also enjoy the cleric as well. I'll probably play an ogre shaman at some point, but I might play a warrior or a cleric to kick off with. For early access anyway, that is. As I said, I don't know what the tanking kind of meta is at the moment. I'm not sure if there's a... Warriors seem to be the most underdeveloped from a skill abilities point of view, so... Yeah, I mean, Necro, Enchanter, Shaman are kind of probably the type of classes I would normally play in EverQuest, so I was trying to go for a bit of a different experience. Yeah, so for the Jew, you get a lot more Fred for your money. A little while ago, I heard the Necro was pretty OP when it was first introduced. I'm not sure if it's had any like changes or whatever. I mean, AAA game development is clearly mismanaged. Clearly mismanaged. It's. I know the costs are high or whatever, but it should not take hundreds of millions of dollars to crack a AAA game. That is just mismanagement. It's ridiculous. It's like you're setting yourself up for failure almost. You know, with the requirement, the amount of copies you need to sell just to make your money back. It's pretty crazy. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try and do a stream of one. Just give it a go before the. I did try, and there was something at the time I didn't quite like about it. But I'm not 100% sure what it was. I'm not sure it was something to do with the spells, how the spells worked, or how the interaction of the spells work with mobs and stuff. There was something about it that didn't feel quite right. But yeah, maybe we'll give it a go for early access to see what's what. What's we gonna make burlap? It's 3. You do. But then it takes 3 burlap to make one piece of cloth, so it balances itself out. And that wants me to make a bag. Now this was changed from earlier in the year. You could make bags at quite a lower level, and I didn't mind the fact that I moaned about it, but I didn't mind the fact that they changed the bag making to a higher level. It was the fact that you have to reach a certain character level to attain a certain crafting level, which is terrible vermin. I didn't pick that up. I thought I normally pick that up. It's quite an easy quest. So to make rucksacks, I need to increase my outfitting, and I think my outfitting is probably 0 at the moment, so I'm not quite sure. That's 1. So I can make bags at this level, but I'm not quite sure what the most efficient way of. I think ultimately what it looks like is that you just need tons of stuff. You need tons of. So I need to make cloth to make cord to level up outfitting. Oh, that's just stuff you can buy. So I can make leather panels at outfitting 1. Oh Jesus, it's horrible. That needs fleshing out. So there's no leveling path for outfitting other than making tons of rank 1 stuff. Eesh. Oh, that's going to be horrible. Tailoring, weaving, outfitting, rank 1. So at the moment, increasing outfitting, it goes from, you either got rank 1 or... Oh, that's rubbish. I mean, it's not so bad early on, but... But it goes from rank 1 outfitting to rank 18. Rank 18. There's no levelling path for outfitting other than making tons of rank 1 stuff. That's pretty shit. I'm not going to enjoy that. How many of these? You get 1 per 3, don't you? I actually enjoyed the monk and the rogue as well. I was thinking about playing a rogue as well, assuming that stealth, it's proper stealth. I quite wanted to play a stealthy dude. I love stealth, like single player games, like stealth games are some of my favourites. But I never really mucked around with rogues much. My son loves rogues in MMO. He always plays a rogue in WoW Classic whenever he starts a new server. Hey mate, how you doing? Thanks, mate. Okay. I hope not. I think I'm going to have to use up all of my the stuff here to increase the... I mean, let's be honest, Richard Garriott lost his mojo a long time ago. Even before UO, really. I mean, UO was Raf Costa more than it was Richard Garriott. I just think he's irrelevant now, isn't he, really? Like, you know, I wouldn't even call him a game creator anymore. Now he's like a poorer, less useful Elon Musk, I think. Oh, these balls don't bloody stack, do they? What am I going to do with all these balls? I'll make some cloth armour, but then that's not increasing my outfitting, is it? No, I just think he's just not relevant anymore. He's not really a game creator. You know, the last stuff that he's released, they're not really games, are they? They're quick cash grabs, NFT type things. I just don't. He's not a game designer anymore. And he hasn't been for 25 years probably. But I love the original, the early Ultima games for sure. So we're up to 8 outfitting. Cool. Oh god, I hate non-stackable stuff. It's fucking pain in the arse. Yeah, but I mean, I mean, I was like, even when they started producing like FPS games on console and stuff, I wasn't really. Yeah, I never really played them. I just couldn't. I couldn't play. I just couldn't play a first-person game on a controller. It just didn't. But then that was because I always played those games on a mouse and keyboard. So, um, oh, I can't accept that quest. Because my reputation. Oh, I didn't even know there was a reputation system with. Is there a reputation system for crafting? So that. So I require 3. Is that right? And I've currently got 0.02. What the hell? Okay, it's a level 15 quest. Oh man, what the hell? Is that real? Is that a level gated quest? Crafting quest? I think you'll probably find the ancient Greeks or someone like that invented the word avatar. I don't think it was Richard Garriott. Yeah, in the context of game creation, I don't trust Richard Garriott to tie his own laces, let alone. Right, okay, so quests are gated behind stuff as well. Okay. Oh yeah, it's not looking good here. It's not looking good. These kind of things just make me want to log out. I'm not sure if it'll be the same when you get to early access, but if you want some bags and you don't want to fuck around with a annoying crafting system, then you can just buy. Except you can't, can you? Okay. It's funny because when you buy a bag, it goes straight onto the slot, but it wouldn't let me buy a bag because there wasn't any empty. Okay. These are the sort of systems that just really piss me off. Cambridge, what, in the UK? I've got no idea. I don't even know. Is there a Cambridge in America? I've got no idea. Cambridge in the UK. Was he? I don't know, actually. Anyway, friends, I've actually streamed for longer than I was going to. This was just going to be some sort of random thing, and I suppose it was in the end. So I might faff around with an enchanter a bit for early access, so we can see what that's like. But I'm not sure what time Stalker unlocks tomorrow. But I might stream a bit of that. I'm not sure though, actually, because I like. Yeah, I do like the design of the axes. Actually, that is pretty good. So I might stream some of that, but it depends on how the performance is going to be on the stream. I think probably because I like to play in 4K, even if I'm streaming. I'm not sure what the performance of the game is like yet. But anyway, ladies and gents. Thanks for watching. I think early access for this game is mid-Feb, is it probably? So we'll definitely fit in a couple of other classes in that time. It'll only be kind of big, fairly low-level stuff, just to see what they're like. Enchanter maybe. I saw the summoner. I saw someone playing a summoner yesterday, and they were outside the bank there, and they had 2 pets summoned, which was interesting. So I'm kind of wondering what the old summoner's like. I like the idea of having 2 pets. I don't know if anyone remembers the Elementalist class thing on Dark Age of Camelot on Albion, where you just cast loads of pets at a mob. That was really cool. It's not like that, but I like the idea of having a couple of different pets that do different things. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon.